Good morning, everybody. Good morning. It's good to see you all this morning. My name is Nate Tubbs with Together Chicago and Chicagoland United Prayer, and we're really grateful that you've taken the time to be here today. This is our third Building Blocks of Peace training of this spring. It's a spring rhythm of our seasonal rhythms that we hope to build habits of partnership and relationships throughout the year. How many of you were at any of the Building Blocks training so far this year? Let me see your hands. Awesome. Thank you for coming back. How many of you, is this your very first time at a Building Blocks of Peace training? Awesome. See some hands. Great. Thank you. Welcome. We're very glad you're here. So I want to just briefly tell you why we do Building Blocks of Peace. What is this all about? So the slide you're going to see on the screen, there's two kind of meanings to this phrase, Building Blocks of Peace. We're talking about the building blocks, the elements that make peace happen in our communities. And we're talking about the blocks, the places, the specific geographies that we're working in that we want to see thrive. We want to see shalom in the places where we live, where we work, where you do ministry. So those are kind of the things that we hope come throughout these trainings. Just as a little catch-up for those of you who may have missed March and April, we use this term called faithful presence a lot. And on this slide, you'll see a little definition that we use of this. Seeking the well-being of our blocks and neighborhoods through consistent, positive presence in proximity to our homes, organizations, and places of need. You're going to encounter a lot of different people today, our panelists, the workshop leaders, and others, who they are modeling that kind of lifestyle and ministry, that they are faithful to their blocks, they're faithful to their communities, they're faithful to hotspot locations in their communities where they want to be a light in those places. And so that's what this is all about. Last month, if you were with us, I did a little quiz, if you remember, and I gave away some books. So I have one more book that I'm going to give away. This is the Light in the Night Handbook made by Communities Partnering for Peace. It's a really cool practical guide for how to mobilize in your community. I got one extra copy here I'm going to give away. So if you remember, who remembers? Okay, good. You didn't put the answer up yet. Don't put the answer up yet. Who remembers how many blocks are in the city of Chicago? Who wants to answer that question? Not neighborhoods. We talked about neighborhoods, we talked about communities, wards, all that. Blocks. How many blocks are in the city of Chicago? 44,000? Not a bad guess. Who remembers? Anybody? Well, that's 77 communities. You're right. You're right about that. Anyone remember from last month? It's like 21,000. 20,800. Okay, so you win this book. Come on and get it. Come on and get it. All right. Okay, you can put that slide up now. So last month we talked about places. Chicago has a lot of places, a lot of parks, a lot of schools, a lot of blocks. And there's a lot of places that you can choose to commit yourself to, that you can be present in. You're going to hear about people who are committed to their schools. You're going to hear about people that are committed to their blocks through block clubs. A lot of places where we can have a presence for peace and to shine the light and the hope of Jesus, right? So that's what this is all about. So I'll be done shortly, but the question that I want to ask you today is, are you a local character? Are you a local character? So how many of y'all have some characters in your neighborhoods? Okay, so some of you are laughing. Okay, I get that. I hear you. How many of you are a character in your neighborhood? Okay, see how that works? You just laughed at the characters, but you're one too, right? So just an example of this. So the question is, are you a character in the story of your neighborhood? If someone was writing a story about your block or about your community or about the place where your church ministers, if they were writing a story, would you be included in that story? Would your church be included in that story? I'll give you a little example. I'm wearing this red and white scarf. I don't think it qualifies me to be a brothers in Christ, but maybe. My daughter Vale's here. Vale, stand up. Vale's got okay. Okay. So she's wearing a shirt that says G.R. Clark, and this is a G.R. Clark. This is our local school. And so every day I walk my daughter, my son, 2 blocks to our local school. And it's one of the most precious things that I just love it, because you see the same people every day. You wave, you say hi. And you know what some people say to me? Some people say, "Hey, Nate." Other people, like the teaching staff, "Hello, Mr. Tubbs." And then you know what else I hear? Some of Vale's friends, what do they say? "Hey, Vale's dad." Right? Okay, so that's just an example of, I'm a character to some of those kids and neighbors and people. And it's just because of that consistent presence, walking the streets and all that. And many of you are characters in your neighborhoods. And you can be characters in the story of your neighborhood. So I'll leave you with this question. If you were to leave your block, or your church were to leave your neighborhood, would anybody notice? And would the neighborhood care? Okay, that's from Doc's book. I stole it. But if you were to leave your block or your neighborhood, would anyone notice? Would anyone care? All right, that's my challenge as we start off today.